Welcome to Haunt Weekly.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And this is Haunt Weekly, a weekly podcast for the haunted attraction and haunted entertainment community. Whether you're an actor, owner, or just plain aficionado, we aim to be a podcast for you. And I gotta be honest, guys, we're exhausted.
Yeah.
HAuNTcon really took it. We recorded the last episode like in the middle of still doing HAuNTcon stuff.
Right. We took a break to come home, do the wrap up, and then go back out with people.
Yeah. So this is our first weekend in forever.
Yeah.
Without HauNTcon stuff or haunt build or haunt prep stuff.
Right. So what do? We got another project to do.
Yeah, we're building a pair of custom cornhole boards for our neighborhood bar.
Right.
And that's coincidentally the same one that everyone at HauNTcon went to afterward.
Yes.
So, obviously HauNTcon won't be in New Orleans next year, but next time you guys are in New Orleans and we go back there, they'll hopefully will have a set of long-lasting beanbag tall / cornhole boards.
Right.
Because the ones they had are in crap condition. We haven't finished them yet.
Right.
Doing all the waterproofy stuff now, because that's where the others went wrong.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Well, and I don't think that they use the pressure-treated wood to begin with.
No.
So we've done that.
We've done that. We've also added a logo to them.
Yes.
I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Very happy with the way it's gone. Other than it's been extremely frustrating and we had to do everything like 3 times.
Yeah, there were lots of extra trips to the store.
Well, and the thing about it is that we've never built something like this before.
No.
And there's a lot of elements of it that we have never really done in building a haunt.
Right, and that's one of the reasons we were going to tackle it, is because, as you stated, this would give us some new skills.
Yeah, and
it did.
It did. I think we actually did learn a lot. And who knows, maybe if these go well and last a while, we'll have a business building cornhole boards.
Yeah, I can make them spooky.
Yeah. And we can do all kinds. Now that we've learned all these lessons,
yeah, we
have a lot we can do with them. And if we decide to do that, you'll definitely learn more about it at HauntWeekly.com. Haunt Weekly on Facebook, Haunt Weekly on Twitter, YouTube.com/HauntWeekly is our YouTube channel. We're also on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher. Anywhere you get your podcast, there we reside.
Yes.
But yes, this has been our first HauNTcon free weekend in quite some time. And so, yeah, like you said, we just tackle a different project because we don't know how to go without projects.
Yeah. Well, soon, it looks like I might have my first custom order for a parade. So that, because it is season.
It's going to get busy.
I do.
All right. Well, first thing is first with these, we got to do our conference reminders. Crystal, the oddball, run with it.
All right. February 21st through the 23rd, it's HauntX, the Haunters DIY Expo in Pomona, California, at the Fairplex. They will be touring Asylum Haunted House, lights on and off for that, and features a costume ball. HauntX.com to find out all the other things you can do there.
All right, March 19th through the 22nd in St. Louis, Missouri. It is Transworld's Halloween and Attraction Show at the America Center. It's co-located with the Transworld's Christmas Show and the Room Escape Show. That's right. 3 of the 5 conferences that are connected together are now in the same place at the same time.
That means they shortened our list for us.
Yes, and you need a time turner if you want to go to multiple of them.
Yes.
But regardless, there will also be tours of Darkness and Lint Brewery. Behind-the-scenes tours features a party at City Museum on Thursday, a performance by Vampire Circus on Friday, and the Werewolf Ball on Saturday. Learn more at the HAUS Show, the HAASHOW.com for more info.
Okay, May 15th through the 17th, it's West Coast Haunters Convention in Portland, Oregon at the Doubletree Hotel, Portland. They will be touring the Fear Haunted House. It also includes a costume ball, a silent auction, and the Nightmare After West Coast Haunters Convention Film Festival with a secret selection of films.
Yeah, that never gets easier to say.
No. HauntersConvention.com for more info.
All right, then after that, May 15th through the 17th, it's the Ohio Halloween and Haunters Convention at the Ohio State Reformatory in Mansfield, Ohio. Features a ghost hunt, a costume party, and various haunted house tours. OhioHHC.com.
Yes, and that's our friends, so we encourage you if you're in the area and looking for something to do.
Definitely, the venue looks badass as hell.
Does.
It looks like a killer venue.
And it looked like they had a good time last year.
Yeah. I mean, and Ohio's such a legendary haunt community anyway, so
Yeah.
really, you can't go wrong with Ohio haunting.
Yeah. And then June 5th through the 7th, it's Midwest Haunters Convention in Schaumburg, Illinois. They will be meeting at the Renaissance Schaumburg Convention Center Hotel. They will be touring Abandoned Haunted House Complex, Disturbia, and Evil Intentions via the Lost Souls bus tour.
Yes, and I know I sound like a broken record. I can never recommend the Lost Souls bus tour enough.
Right.
That is the best way I found to see haunted attractions is exactly that.
Yes.
I'm not kidding.
Yeah, they're also going to have a costume party in a kids zone, which sounds like fun. MidwestHauntersConvention.com for more info on all of that.
All right, now, at this point, we usually, the topic of this week is we're talking about how to cue and set up actors.
Right.
This was something that came up when we were doing both of our haunt tours.
Both of our haunt tours and during our class that we taught, people would come up and ask us, how do you cue your actors? Or they'd be amazed at the ways that we do use.
I did not realize this was a nut we had cracked fairly well.
Yeah.
That it seems like so many other people are still struggling with.
Right.
And so you had the idea, hey, we should turn this into an episode and see where it goes.
Exactly.
And here we are.
Yeah.
So, but before we jump into that, quick update on our haunt.
Yeah.
Haunt's still done. I mean,
Yeah.
not a lot's changed with the haunt itself.
We still don't have a road, so we still can't get our final pieces in place.
No. We do have sidewalks. The sidewalks, I think we noted last week, were poured like 2 days before the HAuNTcon tour.
Right.
Or the day before, one or the other. I think it was the day before the HAuNTcon tour came. So it was Wednesday last week.
Yeah.
And then they came out and they tore up the concrete forms and all that stuff, like Thursday or something. Thursday or Friday. No, it was Saturday. They came out Saturday to do that.
Yeah.
It came out literally yesterday from when we're recording this. Yeah. And that was, annoying because, I mean, going back to the misinformation we were given, we were promised in the original note that they put on our door, that they would alert us before they did any work on Saturday or Sunday.
Right. And
that was the only piece of information on that note, literally, that it held true.
Yes.
Because they hadn't done any work on Saturday or Sunday. They did work on Saturday without any prior notice. And it was some loud fucking work, too. I didn't think tearing up concrete forms would be quite that loud, but yeah, when it's right outside your window at 9 a.m. and you're trying to sleep in.
Well, and they're doing all the beep, beep, beep still because they're moving dirt around to give us all, sandboxes.
Yeah, and this is... Okay, well, I'm going off on crap with this road that pisses me off.
Yeah.
Because, gotta fill an hour somehow.
Mm-hmm.
As a lot of you guys noted when you came, we have a driveway and a walk-up that have about a 5-foot span between them.
Yeah.
And what they did is when they tore out for the driveways, they just tore out everything from the walk up through the driveway, including that grassy bit that was in the middle.
Yeah.
And so we're like, okay, what are they going to do? Are they just going to pave the whole thing? Or going to have this weird looking concrete thing? Or what's the plan here? We were kind of confused.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then they put our driveway in, and then they put our walk up in, and then there was just a crater.
Yeah.
Like a 5-foot by 5-foot freaking crater there.
Yeah.
And we were going to get us some skeleton hands and some of that little cheap cemetery fencing that you get like at Walgreens, kitschy stuff. We were doing it to amuse us, but we never got around to it. Mostly because I have no idea what bin any of that stuff would be in.
Yeah, I see some of it right now.
Oh shoot, there is. I'm sitting right next to cemetery fencing.
Yes.
That's how you know we're recording Haunt Weekly. But more like Haunt nearly poking me in the butt. I didn't realize how close I was to it. And then I took a cemetery fence up the anus. Hashtag no context. But we were going to do that, and we just never got around to it. And then they came by, like I said, on Saturday, and they took out the concrete forms, and then just gave us a goddamn sandbox.
Yeah, don't step in it.
Play sand.
Yeah.
Type stuff. I mean,
neighborhood cats are loving it.
Oh, yeah, I bet the cats are crapping all in it. And honestly, we actually have, and this is true, a sandcastle building set from the yard display. Because we were closed, so we just did a very small yard display saying closed due to construction.
Right.
And we had a skeleton road worker and surrounded him with toy trucks and sandcastle-y stuff. And so we actually have the stuff pretty handy. We might just stick that in there.
We could put the little skeleton that's in the orange vest playing with the dump truck. Like, put sand in the dump truck.
I just, nothing. I mean, officially now, every piece of information they told us turned out to be wrong or a lie.
Right.
You get to decide which.
Yes.
The project has been going on in our court since June of last year.
Yeah.
We are about to enter February.
And we personally have not had a road for over 3 months.
Yeah, since like the week before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, that's a great time to start a mammoth road construction project. When the couple months a year, it's cold, and therefore concrete's going to have trouble setting.
Right.
And people got all this vacation time.
And people are visiting families, you know.
Yeah, I just don't get it. Why couldn't they leave well enough alone until the new year?
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, yeah, it helped us out with HAuNTcon, I guess.
No.
But not much. We still didn't have a road for HAuNTcon.
No.
Anyway, so the situation there is we are hoping they're actually going to pave the goddamn road soon. But considering today has been monsoon weather all day.
Yeah.
Like the steady, and not like a downpour, just the steady, annoying, never-ending rain.
Yeah. And I noticed whenever I was out there that now we have very poor drainage at the end of our yard.
Yes. Now, the area...
Thanks to the new concrete
The
forms.
area they... and it's bad because the drainage problem used to be at the road right in front of our house.
Yeah.
Like where the sidewalk and the road meet.
Exactly.
And now it's been moved up, and it's at the end of our driveway. It's admittedly not as bad as it was in terms of the number of inches of standing water.
Right.
Purely the amount of standing water we'll have to drive through, it's not as bad. But it's still like, okay, thanks. You just put the problem in our yard.
Yeah.
Thanks. Rather than actually setting up the street and everything to drain properly, you just left it. And it's not just us.
Well, no.
Our next door neighbors have the same thing.
Yeah, and I think that the reason is that the concrete was poured flat instead of in a slope down into the road.
Yeah.
And then the road would go into the gutters and, you know, or the
Well, the road
storm
won't go into
drains
the gutters because they don't know how to pave up to the height of the storm drain. Because they have like a 6-inch gap between the road and the storm drain. So now the road has to take 6 inches of water before anything drains.
Yeah.
God bless New Orleans.
Yeah, you'd think they'd have some of this water stuff figured out.
Yeah, you would. Regardless, that's the situation with all that. It does look like we are probably actually going to get a road soon. There will be much rejoicing and partying when and if it does happen.
Yeah.
And I have to add the when and if because...
Yeah, who knows?
Who really knows? But yeah, okay, getting back on topic because we need to.
Because we haven't yet.
We haven't been on it. As you said, as we talked about, when we gave our HauNTcon tours and when we did our class, we got a lot of questions about how to be Q actors.
Right.
And the reason was because apparently this is something a lot of people are struggling with, helping actors see when to activate their scares.
Right. This isn't actor training.
No.
This is just knowing when to activate a scare. A drop panel or
Letting
a
the
slam
actor
wall.
see without being seen.
Exactly.
And we were talking about it sort of, after our talk, and talking about it after our talk, I must be tired.
You are.
That's a
but
terrible
it's okay.
fucking sentence. That's barely English.
Anyway.
We were talking about it, though, after our class, and we were like, yeah, we did go through a lot of crappy iterations in trying to solve this.
Yeah.
And various things we could do and failed on and so on and so forth. So, yeah, I can see why others are struggling with it. And it's really just now, we've been at this haunt for about 15 years, that I really think we've got this problem solved.
Yeah, I don't think any actor is in a position where they don't know when to hit their cue.
Yeah, I think every actor has excellent visibility of who they're trying to scare, and at the same time remaining hidden.
Right.
But yeah, first things first, we will talk about some of our epic failures.
Yes, from whenever we first started. So, first, sound. Using sound to cue actors. This could be an actor banging on a wall near...
Like you have an actor in the room
Right.
who has visibility and they slam something down.
Right.
Or they make a noise or say a code word.
Exactly. Say the words and...
Say the word Farfanugan.
Yeah. Yeah, and you listen for close by scares, but it doesn't work because whenever the haunts open, people are unpredictable. You may not be able to keep up with the group if they're too scared.
Yeah.
They could be screaming and the actor just can't hear the cues. So that was a big failure for us. And something that we've tried several times, and it just doesn't work.
Well, and the reasons for it are actually kind of legion. Like you said, first, one actor may not be able to hear, and there's a lot of reasons the actor may not be able to hear.
Right.
I'm not quote-unquote deaf or hard of hearing. I jokingly say I'm deaf, because I do have very bad ears, ultimately. But the truth of the matter is I can hear a conversation fine. I can function in my day-to-day life without hearing aids relatively well.
Yeah.
But in noisy situations, my hearing goes right down the commode. And a haunted house is going to be a very noisy situation. I just spit all over my damn laptop.
Well, that's on you.
So in a noisy situation, it might be difficult to hear. So if you do something like a code word,
right,
it's not going to really work well because there's no guarantee the other actor is going to pick up on it. But the bigger problem that we found over and over and over again is even when the communication was perfect, you remove that flexibility.
Right.
Actor A is dependent upon actor B for all the timing.
Exactly.
And actor A can't use his or her own judgment into when to activate the scare.
Right.
And that sucks. That's not fun for the actor. And what happens if you get two actors who are just not on the same wavelength? Who are just not clicking? We have seen actors who, even though they heard the bang or the code word or whatever, still not activate the scare. They just froze up because they weren't sure in their head how to respond to it.
Well, and the other problem is whenever you add in that step, the first person might be cueing exactly on time, but the second person's not receiving and understanding it at that exact moment.
And by the time they hear, process, activate...
Yeah, it's too late.
Because the person cueing is like, cue, slam is what they're thinking is going to happen.
Yeah.
But it could be cue, tick, tick, slam.
Yeah.
And that tick, tick can just, your timing is all out the window.
Exactly. Yeah.
So between not being able to hear, having actors such as myself and others that are hard of hearing, and just the general noisiness of the haunt, this was something that we eventually just gave up on completely, except as an absolute Hail Mary last ditch.
Right.
I mean, we contemplated it on the Lights On, Lights Off tour
for
HAuNTcon for one scare.
And I actually did.
Okay. But that was just because we were in an emergency. The way we had set the queuing was not working.
Right.
And we could not adjust.
Yeah.
So it was the backup. And that's kind of where this one falls to me. This is something that still can be sometimes useful, but only as a backup.
Yes.
You need to have a primary means ahead of this one.
Yes. And for the reason we used it Friday is because we knew there were haunters coming through.
Yeah.
They're not going to be screaming kids.
Yeah.
Our noise for our haunt was lower decibel than is during show.
Yeah. We only had, in fact, 3 of the 5 boo boxes we own in use.
Yeah.
Scream boxes, rather, in use.
Exactly.
And we did not have the background music we sometimes play.
Exactly. So we knew that the haunt would be quieter to begin with, and the queuing that we had set up didn't work as well as it had in the past.
Yeah. And the problem with it was related, and we'll get to this in a minute, it was due to a lighting change in the room that we can go back and correct now.
Right.
But we'll get to what happened with that one, because it's actually one of the more successful approaches. We just didn't have adequate time to test and make sure that one thing was cued properly.
Right,
exactly.
exactly.
That happens.
Yeah.
Okay, that moves us on to light fails of various stripes.
Right.
And then we're going to talk about light successes in a minute, but this is more about using lights or some kind of visual signal to cue the actor.
Yes.
A good example is we tried a lot in this area, actually.
Yeah, we have.
We've used those wireless remotes to turn on and off hidden lights that only the actors can see.
Yes. And that was fairly successful compared to some of the other things that we've tried.
And then we had step pads.
Right.
With lights attached. And I was actually pretty proud of those.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, they were a failure, but I learned basic soldering and electrical work to make it happen. What we did is we got some of those Harbor Freight step pads.
Yep.
Stupid cheap, like $6 each.
I don't know if they even still sell them anymore. They did it.
I have not seen them.
They did like 12 years ago.
Yeah, this was about 12, 13 years ago we did this.
Yeah.
Pull the wires.
Yeah.
And solder them to one of those battery-powered tea lights.
Right.
And would shove and screw that in the actor's area. And when the tea light activates, they know that someone's on that pad.
Right.
And then, there's just tons of other things we've tried in this area.
Yeah.
But starting with the stalker activated lights. Because we have one zone actor usually. What would be thought of in other haunts as a zone actor.
Right.
That follows through the room and makes sure the group keeps pushing them forward.
Right.
So that stalker character would activate the scare lights.
Right. And that worked fairly well, as I said, except if the remote and the batteries go out, or if there's a problem, because the stalker has two roles. They not only are keeping people moving forward, but they're also making sure that there aren't any emergencies.
Yeah.
And they're responding to emergencies if they happen. So if for some reason the stalker gets away from the group, and then they can't activate those lights.
Yeah.
And you also have to have a pretty dead-on aim with those types of remotes. So you have to, be really up on the group. And that just gets to where they're used to the stalker being there.
Yeah, and like I said, the issues with this were legion, ultimately. First was, like you said, first is there's a delay between when the button is pressed and the light is activated.
Right.
This is on any system.
Yes.
And so it took you, and you're pretty good at picking up timings, it took you several runs, probably even a dozen or so runs, before you had the timing down, just because of that hint of
delay.
a delay.
Yeah.
And that really messes with you.
Yeah.
Second, as you said, if the group gets scared and bolts forward, you can't do it.
No, you can't
there's
activate
no
all those.
There's just no way.
No.
And third is there's just, like you said, so many mechanical issues that can come between A and B. Interference between the radio remote.
Right.
The light bulb can go out. The remote batteries can stop working.
Yeah.
It's Tuesday and it doesn't feel like fucking working.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and all of those pretty much happened with this system.
So, yeah, when you got the timing down and when everything worked from a practical standpoint, it was effective, but that was never more than 50% of the time. Right.
And you also still have that problem of the person activating the light isn't the person trying to do the scare.
Yeah, you got the delay between remote to light and delay between light and scare.
Yeah.
So now you're just 2 steps removed
exactly
from the scare. It's really frustrating, and I could tell when you were trying that, especially given that you had to have a remote in one hand and a shovel or whatever taken in the other.
No.
It was a frustrating experience for you, and we ditched that. I think we ditched that for one night, realistically.
Yeah, pretty much, because it just didn't work.
The step pads, if we'd bought more expensive step pads,
maybe
they might have been better. These step pads broke, all of them.
Yeah.
In the short order of less than one night.
Yes, because sometimes when people are scared, they don't pick up their feet.
No. And we had things ripped out of the wires ripped out, the pads ripped up, and this was after they were taped down very, very well.
Right, taped down very well, and some of them even underneath carpeting.
Yeah, and they still managed. In one case, they shuffled their feet so hard that they literally slid the pad out from underneath the carpeting.
Right. Slid it out, pulled the wires out of the light.
And then you find the pad in the next room and the wires in the first one.
Yeah.
It was a mess. And the other problem with that is, while there's no delay between the pad and the light, that's pretty much instantaneous, mercifully, you still have the delay between the light and the actor.
Yeah.
And so you have to adjust and find the perfect pad placement. But also, all the pad does is tell you that someone's stepping on it.
Right.
What if I say I have a group of 4?
Yeah.
But they're stepping so close, the light only blinks twice or 3 times. It's possible to miss the group.
Yeah.
Because some of those groups will huddle together. 4 people will get in this huddle and just bounce around the goddamn haunt. I mean, we've seen it.
Yeah, they could do that, or they could stop. The first one could stop, and the other 3 don't come in. So you're hitting early.
Yeah. Exactly. So that really didn't work. And so between these first two things, we started to realize that it was very important for the actors to be able to see the customers, see people going through the haunt.
Yeah.
So that way they can use their judgment. Because this a lot of this comes from a place of you've got to trust your actors.
Yeah.
You've got to put people in the roles that are right for them, and then trust them to execute those roles.
Yes.
If you can't trust them, don't put them in there.
Exactly. That's simple.
It's that simple. And so if you trust them to do the job, then you've got to give them the ability to do it, and that's going to mean seeing for themselves without relying upon anything else to know when the scare is.
Right.
And then, but that led to another failure, which was the use of peepholes.
Yes, and lots of people still use peepholes.
Peepholes can work.
They can. This is probably the most successful in the failures list.
Yeah, I think honestly we're going in order of worst failures to least failures in our failure list.
Yeah, and that's very possible. So peepholes, for one, they ruin the design.
Yeah.
Because unless you've got lots of holes that are randomly placed, then, you know, it's going to stand out.
Yeah.
Two, how do you determine where to put it?
Yeah.
Like what height? Because if an actor calls in sick and someone who's not the same build comes in...
If Tall Joe is sick and Short Dave comes in to fill the role, Short Dave gonna need a damn stepladder.
Exactly, and then he's not going to be able to do it. Or, you know, Tall Joe's going to have to bend over down to Short Dave's level, and it's uncomfortable all night. So that doesn't really work either for that reason.
And the other problem is looking through a peephole really requires a lot of focus.
Yeah.
And it means pressing your face against a tiny opening, which can make it very difficult to activate a lot of scares.
Right.
For example, if you have a crash wall you're trying to do, it's very hard to hold your face up against the wall and then activate a crash wall.
Yeah.
It's very difficult.
It is. And I would say that the worst case of this are drop panels.
Oh, yeah.
Like, remember the drop panel you worked with the tiny little opening that was like 1.5 feet to the side of the drop panel?
Yeah, so basically I had to press my face against this and then reach over with my right hand and grab the release.
Yeah.
And then scurry, reset it. Hold the release, look to the peephole.
Yeah, so sometimes you weren't actually in the window when the peephole dropped. That wasn't at our haunt.
No, that was
a different.
Work, yeah.
But we did try that at our haunt with the peephole being closer, but then you've still got, you know, somebody in an awkward position trying to drop and look at the same time.
So people will oftentimes try to put the peepholes in the drop part of the panel.
Right.
But now the actor is pressing their face up against the wall that moves.
Yeah.
Not exactly safe.
No.
But also, once again, you've got the Tall Joe, Short Dave problem.
Right.
And bad thing is we have an actor named Dave, and he's not particularly short, and we don't have an actor named Joe. but if we get Joe, he's becoming Tall Joe. And Dave will be
no matter how tall he is.
He's 5'2". He's Tall Joe. We don't care.
Yeah.
But anyways, so peepholes never really worked for us in that regard, and it became really frustrating trying to place them and position them because, like I said, what are you going to do? Carve 3 sets of peepholes in a drop panel?
Yeah, and then I guess you've got your holes that fit with the design, but they're actually going to be more obvious at that point.
And yes, you can do a lot with lighting and design to hide peepholes.
Yeah.
There are ways to effectively mask them, but it oftentimes just isn't worth the effort.
No. Oh,
especially if you want to make sure the scare itself is still visible.
Yeah.
Now, one thing you could do, I guess, if you wanted to keep the peepholes in shadow, is have a light activate as the drop panel hits, for example.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've done that before where one of the failure lights was so bright that it actually lit up the entire room.
Yeah, that actor was in.
that the actor was in. And then people were like, oh, there's a light coming from there. It's like, oh, we probably need to rethink this for tomorrow night.
Yeah,
you know?
And we did, luckily.
Yeah.
But yeah, honestly, I mean, we've had a few applications of peepholes that worked reasonably well.
No.
But most of the time, it kind of flounders.
Yeah, and I would say if you're looking for a peephole solution that's not an actual peephole, try building in a gap in your scare.
Yeah.
That's, goes a vertical gap, goes the entire length, so no matter how tall or short your person is operating it, they can see out of it. Not so big that people can see in, but just big enough so that you can count shadows.
Yeah.
Shadows are important here, as we're going to get into.
So, those are the main things we've done that we have found to be, for the most part, failures. Like I said, some peepholes have done well for us. I can't say that like all the peephole designs were terrible and an abomination. Some have actually worked. Yeah. But I still do not make that my go-to.
Yes, and I also want to specify here that no matter how much you put into this, there are some people who will never get timing. No. No matter how much you set them up for success, because I know of at least one scare that I was able to get to hit, but the person who was actually operating it didn't get the timing down because of the delay of the actual scare. Yeah. So that's something.
Not understanding you have to let it go early. Yeah. 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 So ideas for success. Right off the bat, one of our favorite things, because basically what we've discovered is lighting really is what leads to success here. Yes. In every aspect. In every one of these things we're going to go over, lighting is your fundamental layer. Yep. And here's the basics for lighting. In those cop shows, when they're doing the interrogation, and they're bringing in the witness, and they go, look, it's bright in here, dark in here. We can see them, they can't see you. Right. That's the fundamental. Exactly. Make it brighter in there and darker where the actor is. Make it so that the actor can see out, but they cannot see in. Yes. It is realistically about that simple in a lot of this. It is. If you start with that and you just start tweaking some things, you can make it very easy for actors to see. And one of our favorite tips and tricks has been mirrors lately. Yeah. We've been kind of gung-ho on mirrors for letting actors know. We have a bathroom stall sequence this year. And we realized, kind of by accident, because we were a little bit worried about the actor cueing on that one, the actor timing on that one. And we kind of shoved a mirror in there to get it out of the way for a minute and realized... No. I thought that was how it happened. No, I was playing with the mirror in different angles. I tried it up in the ceiling and that's right. And it didn't work. So then we put it down into the stall to see if we could see feet walking by. And if you got it about a 45-degree angle, you could. Yeah. You got to get it at about the perfect angle, but it allows the actor who's standing behind the sliding door to see feet. Exactly. And they can count the 1, 2, 3, 4 pair of shuffling feet. Yeah, and they've basically got a view of the entire floor of their room, at least to the edge of their scare. Yeah. And so it's simple, and once again, it's powered by the fact that the lighting is such that it's bright on the other side of that, but dark inside the actual quote-unquote stalls. Exactly. So, it's really easy for them just to look down and say, oh, there are people here. Shoo, slam. Exactly. Yeah. And they can gauge where they are in relation to where that panel opens. Right. And since we didn't affix the mirror, it's just kind of propped in there. We've noticed that people of different heights need it at different places. Yeah. So it's easy to change up. And interestingly, the 45 still seems to be the angle. Right. But they need to slide it closer or further away from them. Exactly. So we're going to keep not affixing it, I think. Yeah. And it's pure happenstance that mirror... the slide door has a guide. Yeah. And it abuts the guide perfectly. And what we did is we just did not put a skin on the guide because it didn't really call for one. Well, no, it would have looked weird. But long and short of it is so that way they can see through the guide rail and it fits perfectly. It ended up working. Yeah. And we've also used mirrors around corners. Yeah. For corner pop-outs. If you see a mirror in our haunt... Yes. There's a very good chance somebody's looking at you. Somebody's looking at you through it. Yeah. And I hate that I feel like I have to say this, but don't put mirrors where you can see up skirts and things. Don't do that. Yeah. Make sure you're only looking at feet or heads. Yeah. And shoulders. Knees and toes.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, obviously not. Don't do that. But yeah, you can put mirrors around corners, and you can, once again, if you do the lighting correctly, make it so that they are in light, your actor is in darkness.
Right.
The mirror isn't two-way. It doesn't let them see the actor.
Yeah.
It just lets the actor see them.
Yeah. Now, one of the coolest tricks with a mirror we've done is we've had a plexiglass mirror that was basically a one-way mirror whenever there was a room for an actor and he was behind it. And then they flipped the switch because they could see people coming towards them, obviously. They flip the switch behind their mirror and start hitting the plexiglass. And suddenly there's this person in the mirror that the customers just weren't expecting.
Yeah, the Lexan mirror.
Exactly.
Yeah. Hey, mirroring Lexan's a bitch.
Yes.
But it might be worth it in some cases.
Yeah, it totally is. Because whenever you see somebody hitting Lexan that looks like a mirror with a hammer towards you, you're going to freak out.
Like half-inch thick Lexan. He wasn't getting through it.
No.
They ended up popping the frame out after a few years of it.
Yeah.
But our frame gave way before the glass did.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So we've talked about how the customer side should always be brighter.
Yeah.
Now, one of my favorite ways for actors to cue is if they are behind like a wall that's made of fabric or something and they can't see through the fabric, is to put a light on the opposite side of where the customers walk. So that whenever that light is broken by the customer's shadow walking between them and the light, then they know, oh, this is customer 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. And we've done this to great success multiple years. In fact, that was supposed to be how the scare was going to be timed in the first room.
Right.
And the way it worked in previous years was the screen that is the break-in way.
Right.
We actually had a quote-unquote movie projecting on it.
Yes.
And customers would walk through the beam of the movie.
Right.
And so you'd see 1, 2, 3, and then pow! And it was quite a beautiful scare.
Yes, because everybody was watching that freaking little dancing skeleton. Yes. Exactly.
That was the only time we ever put a store-bought prop directly into the haunt like that.
Yeah, it was, but it worked beautifully, and it was because, that's one of the ways you can draw direction directly to your scare and still have it be effective.
Yeah. The distract and startle element of it.
Because there's that. There was also the shim disappearing wall at the end of a hallway that had a projection on it. So whenever the projection was broken, the shim dropped, and that was great too.
Yeah.
But that was putting the light directly on the scare.
But yeah, that's been a very powerful thing for us, is having like an eclipse situation where you put a bright enough light on the customer side, and so that the customers break it as they walk past, and the actor, even if they can't actually see the customers, can see that light break and can see that sudden shadow.
Yeah.
And see maybe even the silhouettes.
Yeah.
And know what's on the other side, and then do their pop.
Yeah, exactly. And the reason it didn't work on Friday night is because we had put up new lighting in the queue line, or in the entrance L.
Yeah.
And it was too bright.
Yeah.
We didn't get a chance to test it the night before.
With the new lighting, yeah.
Yeah. So, it was too bright, and the globe that is actually what the customer breaks, there's a light up globe on the bar, was caught up on a rail in the ceiling, and I couldn't, reposition it to where it would be better. So
we're going to have to redo the lighting in that sequence, and that's a lesson learned, but that's the type of thing that happens. And, it's like I said, it was a little frustrating with the HauNtcon, the Friday tour on HauNtcon, because usually on HauNtcon we've been presenting a haunt that's been running for a season. And we've ironed all these kinks out. We got a smooth ship.
Yeah, exactly.
This time around, y'all were the tests.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Y'all were the test crowd.
I'm like, this is untested. I'm feeling really, nervous about
and
this.
Considering the way some of our first groups have gone in season before,
yeah,
that was a pretty big risk. The time we threw glass bottles.
Yeah, we'll go into some of our building failures later, because that's definitely a story that needs to be heard by more than...
I think we've told it before, but it's always worth retelling. Yeah. But yeah, using the eclipse effect, as I like to think of it, is really, really handy, and something we've done to great success.
Yeah.
putting a small gap in the scenes.
Right.
One of the beautiful things about decoration and lighting is you can have small, like, inch-wide gaps.
Yeah.
Between walls, or in the case of one of the scares we have this year, the big crash wall, the way it works is the two doors actually have about a 2-inch gap between them.
Yeah.
That is covered on the other side by the fake hotel curtain.
Yeah. And the middle of the hotel curtain, because if you've been in a hotel room, you know that they've got the thick curtains on the outside and then the thin curtains on the middle. They don't
cover shit. I mean, I don't know what it's there for.
Exactly. So we've got thin curtains that are see-through in the middle, and the thick ones on the outside, so it looks exactly appropriate for the scene, but it's really easy to see through.
And once again, the hotel side is lit brighter than the doctor side.
Exactly.
So that because the doctor side only becomes bright. The bathroom side only becomes bright after the slam wall activates and the sound activated overhead lighting kicks on.
Right.
Once that goes away, that becomes a dark scene again.
Yeah.
And that visibility changes.
Exactly.
And so, otherwise, it would be very difficult to see through even that sheer fabric and know when to burst through. But, and the backup there is we have an actor in the bed. She can signal in Q2 if needed, but that's once again going to sound as a backup, not the plan.
Right. Definitely not the plan.
The plan there is to have the actor see and break through at the correct time.
Yeah.
So far, that's been working really, really well. I've been happy with the way that scare's turned out. But yeah, the main thing here is the two big differences between this and a peephole.
Right.
Is one, it's not set to a specific height.
No.
That's a vertical slice.
Yes.
And second is that it looks natural in the scene.
Exactly.
Peepholes never look natural in the scene, unless you're doing a wall of peepholes, which I
guess you could do.
Hey, I've seen crazier stuff working a haunt.
Go crazy with the drill. Yeah.
Get one of them hole saws.
Yeah. Well, and going back to the mirror, the one-way mirror, that's been useful and used in other scenes, not as a scare, but as a way for the actor to see the room. Mm-hmm. And they're pretty easy to make. Yeah.
They're very, very easy to make, actually.
Yeah.
Or to buy.
Yeah.
You can actually buy, we know this now, you can actually buy pre-mirrored Lexan and plexiglass and other stuff.
Yeah.
For probably less than the plexiglass plus the mirroring kit.
It is. It is.
So, yeah. And honestly...
And it's a lot less headache.
Yeah. Honestly, I still wake up with hot nightmares about trying to mirror plexiglass.
You do.
Hey, I tried to help.
You did.
We both failed.
Yes. This is sticking to itself. No!
I seem to recall getting a big glob stuck to my thumb at one point.
Yeah.
It will stick to anything.
Yeah.
But, it's better to have it done professionally and have it shipped to you, because, just trust me.
Yeah, and maybe we'll have that link out there somewhere. Yeah,
I remember for the HAuNTcon group, I actually pulled down the email where we ordered the glass at and sent them the link. And
right, for some of the people.
The gore box we have.
Yeah.
But if we have anything else in that haunt that demands or asks for mirrored plexiglass or one-way mirrors, you damn well better believe I'm going to go with them.
Oh yeah, me too, because I don't want to have to deal with that.
And that is a hot nightmare there. I don't need that in my life.
No.
Okay. And the final thing that's worked incredibly well for us is just putting the scare where people ain't looking.
Exactly. Yeah.
We had if you go down that back hallway of our haunt this year, they had the guy up. We had the guy in the attic.
Yeah.
Or the kid, little girl in the attic, actually.
This year, yeah.
But this time. But maybe not. Who knows when we open in October.
Yeah.
But banging the grating down. Everyone loved it. It seemed to go over very well.
Yeah.
She's plainly visible.
Yeah.
Other than it's dark up there and slightly brighter, not much brighter, slightly brighter in that hallway.
Yeah.
Other than that, no, she's plainly visible. She's not hidden at all.
No.
Nobody looks at her.
No.
Nobody saw her coming.
No.
She's just there because no one looks up and to the right that way until after something slams down on them.
Exactly. Yeah.
Put scares in places people aren't looking. And another one we did in that same hallway was we had the big metal AC grating. Mm-hmm. Actor plainly visible behind it. The bang on it. You can see straight through that grating. You can see straight through it to him.
Yeah.
It's not a problem. But the fact is, you don't look hard to your right like that, and once again, slightly darker there.
Well, we also had a fan blowing out, so it felt like an air conditioner thing.
Yeah, and he was very glad for that, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, so, that happened. But one of the most effective ones, though, is we have a giant coffin. It's hidden right now. But for this scene, it was out. And I was inside of it playing a victim. Mm-hmm. And we had my dad in a black morph suit beside it who would come out.
Yeah.
So that's
the early years.
It is. Yes, that's the year the fire chief came by.
And once again, plainly visible, disguised by the morph suit and the black wall behind him. But other than that, completely visible, completely out there. It wasn't a dot room.
No.
We're not trying to mess with that and tickle that ivory.
No, we were just playing with shadows.
Yeah.
And light and dark.
Yeah.
Because there was a little light on
putting
me.
It in a space no one's going to look. You direct people's attention away to something else, gives them the come around.
Exactly.
And that's the thing. It's like the most important thing in terms of actor visibility, actor cueing, to my mind, is not any like one trick.
No.
Because that's kind of, when you like propose talking about this, I'm like, we don't know any tricks. We're good with mirrors. We got a few things. The main thing we do is when we design the scare, we think distract and startle. So we think we're trying to force the customer to look this way.
Right.
The scare is going to come from another direction. And that actor can be just about as goddamn well visible as we want them to be.
Yeah.
And still not be seen.
Yeah, but I mean, so some thought also goes into actor comfort and how they're going to operate that scare whenever we're first setting it up. Before any panels are put into place or any boards, we've got all this, like, we've got ideas of how this is going to work.
Yeah.
Before we start building.
Yeah. The best advice I can give in terms of actor cueing, though, is to focus on your lighting.
Yeah.
Use the mirrors, use the eclipse trick, but it all comes with lighting. If you are positioning your lights carefully and correctly, actors will be aware when people are in the room. And I've been in haunts before, touring haunts, in which we surprised the actors.
Yes.
That should never goddamn happen.
No, it shouldn't. Because you are going to have people like us who are sometimes are going through quiet.
Yeah.
I am not a stomper. I am a very sneaky person.
No, you actually walk on your toes, you weird little freak.
Yeah, I do. But it makes it so that I walk very quietly. Mm-hmm. And I'm not the only person that walks quietly.
No.
So if you're trying to listen for footsteps and screams, that doesn't always work.
Yeah, you've got to have other cues. You've got to have a system in place. And one of the things we have found to be effective for us is simply having a noisy scare in one room alerts people in the next two rooms that they need to make sure they're in position.
Right, exactly.
And that's not about necessarily cueing the specific scare. That's cueing them to, okay, break time's over, get in place.
Right, and I mean, the first professional haunt we volunteered at, we would always listen for Shake and Bake.
Actually, the first one, we were in separate rooms. The Boy Scout one.
Yeah, no, I know, but that's a charity one. This is a professional one.
True. Fair enough.
That's why I said that.
Fair. But yeah, we'd always listen for the electric chair prop, because you could hear that son of a bitch.
Yeah, and
you knew they were about halfway through the interior of the haunt, and you and I were the first scenes on the outside.
Right, exactly. And if you have worked in a big haunt, you hear the cues of how fast people are moving through the haunt by how they're reacting and what they're setting off, Yeah,
air cannons, things like that. And honestly, I don't like air cannons as scares.
No.
But I do think they have merit in terms of helping actors know where people are.
Yeah. One thing that we didn't talk about, and it's just because we haven't used it because we don't have the skill level, are the beams of light that are broken, the laser trips. Yeah. Now, I've heard that a lot of people have great success with those.
Yeah.
I haven't tried them, but...
I haven't tried them either, and once again, even when the step pads worked...
Yeah.
I still feel like it was robbing the actor of some of the spontaneity.
Yeah.
I still think there's that separation that...
Well, I do too, because, I mean, okay, so pretty much everybody trains their actors to hit the middle of the group.
Yeah.
But if you've got somebody in the front that's scared and the people in the back are pushing them through, then your actor might decide to hit the front of the group. You know?
And like, okay, going back to the doctor's office scare from last year,
yeah,
the actor there figured out that it was actually better to hit late.
Yeah.
Because people were so looking at the gore box that if he hit early or hit the actual middle of the group, they might not even really notice him. So
right.
Wait until people are around in the corner, which for our mind was late.
Yeah.
Get the pop out, get the slam, clear him out of the room.
Exactly.
So he ended up hitting toward the back of the group, and it worked much better.
Yeah.
So you've got to give your actor that flexibility. And you have a laser tripwire. Now you've got to reconfigure where the tripwire is. You've got to make changes to the room.
Yeah, I think the only place that those might be well used are unknown, untested actors behind drop panels.
Yeah. But yeah, honestly, for us, cueing actors has been almost a non-issue in recent years. I mean,
yeah.
And I don't want to, like, brush it aside completely because, like I said, we had the issue with the lighting this year.
Right.
But that's just it. We know it's a lighting issue.
Yeah.
When we run into a problem with cueing an actor, we immediately look at it as a lighting issue.
Yeah.
Not necessarily because we built the scares to make everything visible.
Right.
We're looking at it as a lighting issue.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. And lighting issues we can fix. We have, in fact, we keep a small collection of just stake lights and light housings sprinkled around like crack in the haunt.
Right.
That we can just throw up in a heartbeat. We can do it between groups.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And we have some of those LED bulbs floating around somewhere, too.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we can make changes between groups if the night's not too crazy.
Yeah.
It's a lighting issue, and I think that's what a lot of haunts are really having when they talk about their actors not being able to see the scares and trying to figure out the timing. I think a lot of it may be a lighting problem, not actually a timing problem.
Yeah.
And not a cueing problem.
Yeah.
Make sense?
It does.
Well, on that note, everyone, thank you very much for spending the past near hour with us. We greatly appreciate your time and attention to this lovely podcast. This has been episode 217 of Haunt Weekly, talking about how we cue our actors. You can find more of us at HauntWeekly.com. We're Haunt Weekly on Twitter, Haunt Weekly on Facebook, YouTube.com/HauntWeekly is our YouTube channel. You can also find us on Google, iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcast. We're probably there. But until next time, I'm Jonathan.
I'm Crystal.
And we will see you guys next week, where hopefully we'll be a little more rested than this one. See you guys then.